segment of EPM Chronicles and Confessions. We're here with Arfan Mazhar. Arfan, hello, how are you? Introduce yourself and your EPM journey.
Hi, Tim. Thanks for inviting me. Pleasure to be on here. Tim, I had this vision that you were going to introduce me, and I want to come on all embarrassed and
Yeah,
and say stop it. Uh, you know, I've been in the EPM space for about 2 decades now. Before that, about 8 years in finance. About 50, 60 projects in. I lost count after about 20, and I worked on all sides of the fence, right? So from the client side to um, the contracting, consultancy in various industries, ranging from entertainment to the public sector now, right? Worked for local government, NHS, now central government. Got quite a breadth of experience, but it wasn't always my intention to end up in this field,
good.
right? You won't believe what my degree's in, Tim.
What is it?
It's marketing,
Okay.
right? So I graduated in marketing thinking I'll be this big marketing guru. And while I was waiting for that perfect job that were all down south and I was based up north, I was thinking I need to get some money in. So I started contracting in finance.
Right.
And quickly realized that finance wasn't quite for me because I'd spend the first month learning it and then I'd get bored, right? So I would automate those processes in spreadsheets using macros and things and run myself out of a job.
Hmm.
Move on to something else. And then, a few years in, I kind of realized, it's the IT element of this that I actually enjoy.
Yeah, yeah.
So I move into IT. So I went for a job and it was for moving into IT, but in looking after the intranet, right? And so the guy sees my CV and is like, have you heard of Essbase? And I'd heard of it, but I didn't really know what it was. So he introduced me to it and said, look, I've got this opportunity for you. And I went on this 5-day training course,
Hmm.
period at the time. And I came back and it's like, okay, now we want you to build a brand new application for us.
Hmm.
Right. It was really good fun. And this is the
Yeah.
first time I kind of done something where it was different all the time, supporting
Hmm.
users, applications, doing enhancements. And I guess I've been chasing the dragon since.
Well, fantastic. No, great journey there. So, to be honest with you, it's really hard to explain what we do uh, to outsiders to this industry and family, friends, whatever. So I've just kind of given up. I've heard different ways of doing it. So how do you explain to others what actually you do or we do? And have you had some like humorous misconceptions what you actually do?
I think, yeah, it is a difficult one to explain. And to be honest, I've given up because the elders think we're IT support. So
Yeah.
anytime any iPhone issues or
Mm.
anything, my father-in-law calling me asking me to fix stuff for him.
Yeah.
My son thinks I'm a coder because he thinks
Yeah.
he's seen me doing a business role, right?
Yeah.
So I'm into
Yeah.
coding. I used to work for Activision, so he tells his friends that I'm coding the next Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
My daughter's the best though. She's 3 years old. Pandemic
Um,
baby. She's me at home. So she thinks she's the boss,
yeah.
but 4 o'clock,
That's
stop
it.
working, start playing. And then there's my wife. I think
Yeah.
she thinks I work for Treasury,
All
doing
right.
printing money. I'm just
Yeah.
joking.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wife stuff. But I think it's a tough one to explain.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. You're right. So, you've been in this business for a long time. I consider you as one of the prime experts in your field. What's been your significant EPM challenge to date, and how have you overcome this?
So I think we faced so many challenges. I think initially when I started off, I've been very fortunate, Tim, to work with some of the best in the industry, and
Right.
these guys are really up there. Trying to keep up with people who
Hmm.
are at that level when you're new to the game is quite
Yeah.
difficult. I
Right.
found that challenging initially, so it was a steep learning curve. But I would say one of my toughest projects was for a pharmaceutical. I was UK based, working for them. They US based, and trying to support all of Europe during the day and working on a very tight timescale project
Hmm.
that they didn't think I could achieve, right?
Right.
And at the end, I got an award for it. So I think it was quite a challenging one because it was long hours, quite complex. And I'd say the bit that challenged me the most was we come up with a solution that is best fit for the problem that we're solving. But when you've got a spreadsheet model and you need to replicate that to come up with the exact same numbers,
Sure.
it's kind of one of those technical challenges that might not necessarily fit with what you think is the best solution for them.
Sure. So, if you could pinpoint one success story that you have done or achieved, what would that be?
I would say I've been very fortunate to have a lot of success stories. Let's. One of them is I was working for a consultancy that wanted to create a template solution, right? That somebody else has attempted for a few years, and it ended up in being a very Excel-based model, right? Because of the large dense structures that they had for this planning application. And I remember we delivered this, and I was showcasing this, and as I kind of did the demonstration, everybody's shoulders just relaxed, right? You could see and vision how this is going to work, and there's a big smiles around the boardroom at that time. I think that it was great accomplishment, especially since we could roll out something like this to over 200 organizations within 30 days.
Oh, sure. No, that's really good. Well done there. What's the most rewarding part of your job? What you do? I mean, in terms of your career at EPM.
Rewarding. I think that a lot of the reward comes from the joy of what we do. For me, for example, finding solutions to challenges, makes me wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning to try and work on things, right? But I think that the reward really comes from, when you're passionate about what you do. You want to deliver what the best that you can deliver. And when you find other people in the business that are passionate about what they do and trying to gain efficiencies for them and make their life easier, and seeing the achievement that you've given them, I think that for me is rewarding. I mean, we can offer a lot of value to our customers, right? At a high level, they see these values. But I think from an individual perspective, a lot of the feedback that I get from the people that I work with, and it's also in my LinkedIn, the recommendations and things, it's people that I work really closely with, and they benefit from that value on a day-to-day basis, right? And for them, is kind of really rewarding.
Cool. Thank you again. So this one, I guess you've had probably a lot of these, but could you tell us some funny moments you've had in your career to date?
Chronicles and confessions, right?
Yes.
And so, there's one story I hesitate to mention because it just seems a bit unrealistic, right? I told one person, and they thought I was making it up, but I'm going to tell you, Tim.
Right, go for it.
So I was working for this client, and we're working on this project with this batch script that ran quite a few different calculations, and I'd kind of worked on this for a little while. I think this was a manual process, and they're really looking forward to automating this. So there's a lot of excitement about this, right? And so the guy I was working with is asking how it's coming along. I said, nearly done it, and we're about to run it, right? So while I'm finishing up writing this, he decides to call quite a few people around, right? And I forgot in this whole hustle that I had conveniently named the script after a movie that was out at the moment, the latest Terminator movie. So I've called it Terminator because it was reiterative, goes back and changes the original number and brings it back, and so it's quite relevant for the business rule, right? And the script. And with all this hassle going on, I think the finance director, right, the IT and finance director, saw all this crowd. They came as well, and so I've got all now trying to see me run the script for the first time, and all this I'd forgotten that I had put different prompts in the script that you would normally put, saying it's running this process, it's running that process, so you know where in the process it is. But I'd put some captions from Terminator and just to make it entertaining for myself while I was working on this. and
Wow.
I'd forgotten all this. And now I'm thinking there's one of the finance directors that really had it in for me at the time. And I
Yeah.
thought this is going to, get me the spanking that he's been wanting to do from day one. I run this rule and it's coming up with all of these
Yeah.
dialogues from Terminator. I'm trying to hide it, looking really fishy. I launched the rule, it's going through, and it's saying, do you really want to do this? And there's a boom, because that's the final part of the script, and this big error message comes up. And then all of a sudden, an alarm goes off, and everybody turns around and they're looking at me like I've just set this fire alarm off. And at the same time, this I think stationary door opens, and this guy comes out with the sprinklers that come on, and he's coming out soaking wet. I'm laughing my head off.
Yeah.
And all these guys are looking at me thinking I've deliberately set the fire alarm off, right? And so all this, and I find it funny.
Oh no.
I thought that was quite a moment.
No, fantastic. Yeah. So, I mean, you've been a contractor and you're quite successful at what you do. I mean, what inspires you to be a contractor?
I think it's the independence of being able to work on the projects that you want to work on. So I think at the moment, for me, I'm quite passionate about helping the public sector, especially with all the budget cuts and the efficiencies that they need. And I've been in this space for a little while, so I'm working with central government at the moment to try and kind of deliver some efficiencies for them, even working on a way to be able to provide the best practices templates, right, across central government to try and kind of aid the delivery of these a lot smoother and quicker.
Fantastic. So that's really good. So how do you keep updated with trends? There's a lot of competitors out there, there's consultancies and, fellow consultants out there. How do you keep yourself updated?
I think that's a lot to do with people like yourself, Tim, the relationships that we keep, just making sure that we're abreast of that by having interaction with the people that are ahead in the market, influencers like yourself. Just, I think, we're lucky to be a kind of niche industry where there's a lot of people that are very close, right? And being in touch with those people and just making sure that we're all having that dialogue and all kind of understand what's in the landscape and how things are progressing. That really kind of helps us to kind of stay on top of it.
Cool. Also, being successful, but also advising multiple of clients out there in your kind of career history. What's your advice to kind of newcomers or people trying to, going to contracting, or people just trying to excel themselves in this industry?
I think for newcomers, it's a really interesting time, Tim, because we've got a lot of new competitors in the market, right?
Yes.
And we've got AI coming along, which can be, it can be really beneficial, but it could be quite detrimental as well, right? Especially for new people, leveraging AI. It's quite easy to get lazy and not learn the foundation and everything, because you're too dependent on this generative AI. So I guess there's a lot of advice for newcomers in terms of, find your niche and really excel at it and understand it and kind of be passionate and enjoy what you do. But I think using AI going forward in the best possible way, right, to enhance your productivity, but not to hinder you from learning, right?
Okay.
Because that's going to be dependent on you knowing knowing your area really well.
Okay. So what do you foresee in the next, I mean, it's a relevant question after the last one. What do you foresee in the next 5 or 6 years in our industry? What's going to happen? What's that?
I think I love the fact that we've got a lot of new and also a lot of new players, right? So with this competition, I think I'm hoping there's going to be a lot of new innovation.
Right.
Because everybody's got to differentiate themselves.
Yeah.
They've got to try and kind of improve on what we've already got, bring out new technologies, bring out new ways of doing things. And so, I think there's going to be quite, I guess, quite a different level of innovation that's going to come over. And we know AI is coming and AI is going to help with a lot of it. But I think you know, just I'm interested in seeing what's going to come from some of the competition,
Yes.
and what new technology is going to come up there, how we can leverage the AI in the different tools, and
Yes,
sort of
yes.
see where that takes us.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for the podcast today. It's been very humorous, and also showed a bit of your journey, but also a glimpse of the future and advice for the youngsters out there. Thank you so much, and have a good day, Arfan. And we'll talk very soon.
Take
Thank you so
care.
much. Bye-bye.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.